Hi there, welcome back. How are you today? So in this video today, I wanted to talk about just giving things a go. Every morning for the past couple of weeks, I don't know why, I keep waking up with this song from Zootopia in my head. My daughter used to love watching that movie when it first came out. She's too grown up for that now, but but at the time we had to keep playing it over and over. I must admit, I fall in love with the songs as well because I love to sing around the house and be goofy. But the song that keeps popping up in my head is the main theme. I wrote the words down because I didn't want to mess it up. But it's the song that goes, I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, then I'll start again. I wanna live, I wanna try everything, I wanna try even though I could fail. And it goes, na, 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 na. So every morning I wake up and I have this gorgeous song in my head, and it reflects up until this point in my life, what my life has been like. I think I get that courage from my mum. My mum would just try things. She wouldn't just sit there. My husband will sit there and look at the pros and the cons and eventually talk himself out of doing things because he just overanalyzes it too much. My mum would be like, she'd get an idea. This was one of the things I loved most about her. She'd get an idea for something and she'd just do it. That's how my parents ended up coming to Australia. She was just looking around one day thinking we're not getting anywhere, filled out the papers without telling my dad, because my dad's like my husband. He'll sit there and forever analyze it and talk himself out of it. So she went and filled out all the paperwork to see if they would be approved to come to Australia. And they were. So once she got the news that they were approved to come to Australia, she told my dad, and my dad was like, wait, what? What's going on now? And they ended up coming here and building a life for themselves here. Only to find out 15 years later that they wanted to go home. This was not what they thought it was. They came here chasing the money, because for so long they had been so poor in South America. When they finally got married, they barely had enough money to put food on the table. So how do you start a family like that? And there are millions of people in South America that do it every day. They have families in that poverty, and that's their life, But she wanted something different. And for some reason today, I was really guided to be here to share that beautiful song, to share those beautiful words. I won't give up, no, I won't give in, till I reach the end, then I'll start again. Because this song today may touch someone's heart. Someone that's not sure what to do, that's not sure what direction to take. I want to live, I want to try everything, I want to try even though I could fail. There have been so many things I've tried in my life. And looking back, when I was in my ego, I thought they were mistakes. I thought they were failures. At 38, I did a gym course. I worked in a gym as a gym instructor. I thought at 38 I was old. I looked around and I was surrounded by kids doing this course, kids in their early 20s. And I thought, wow, I'm so old to be doing this. But for some reason in my heart, I wanted to do it. And at the time, just like my parents, I was chasing the money because I was teaching piano and it wasn't enough. I needed something to supplement that income. And I honestly thought that this was going to be the way, only to discover that it wasn't. I was making a lot more money with my piano lessons than I was being a gym instructor at the gym. So, when you look back at it with human eyes, you think, oh, that was a fail. I spent all that money, spent all those months doing that course. I worked at the gym for a year only to discover that wasn't it. 2 years later, or probably the year after, I'm trying to think, it was before I was 40, I learned how to ride a motorbike for the first time ever. Like, my husband had grown up riding motorbikes. I didn't know what it was to ride a motorbike. And in my childhood, I didn't ride a bicycle all that much, you know, so this was really scary for me. But the beauty of that experience was that there was no end goal. You know, I wasn't chasing the money when I was learning to ride a motorbike. I was just doing it for the experience. At the time, my husband had started riding again with a group of friends, and he would take off every weekend with his friends, and I'd be stuck at home. And at one point I thought, well, what's stopping me from learning? You know, I've never done this before. How hard can it be? You know, he made it look easy. That was the problem. My husband made it look easy because he had done it for so much, you know, so a huge part of his life, he had already done the motorbike riding. So I did that, and I had a blast doing that. But I remember in the first 4 months when I was learning, one day I'm at the traffic lights and I'm like shaking, holding onto the bars, you know, the handlebars. And I'm sitting at the lights thinking to myself, hang on a minute. If I'm going to be terrified every time I go out on a ride that I'm going to be taken out by a car and I'm going to die, I might as well just sell this bike and be done with it. There's no point. If I'm not enjoying it, what's the point if every time I go out and I'm going to be terrified that something's going to happen to me? So I remember having this huge conversation with myself in my head that day at the traffic lights that, you know, it's been 4 months. You're on your P's now. You're past your L's. You're on your P's. Make a choice. You're either going to enjoy this or give it up. And in that moment I thought, okay, I choose to enjoy it, to let go of that fear. When I'm meant to die, I will die. It'll be on a motorbike. It'll be crossing the road. It'll be in my bed at night having a heart attack. I have no control over when I die. But I do have control over what I do while I'm alive. And for some reason, I was really pulled to create this video today, that someone out there needs this message. I want to live, I want to try everything. I want to try even though I could fail. When I look back, none of it was a failure. I gained from every single experience. I learned how brave I was when I did the motorbike riding. How strong I was when I did the gym course. I had no idea my body was that strong at that time. I learned all about nutrition through the gym course. So many things, so many wonderful things came out of that. Even though when I quit and went back to piano and looking at what I did then was I started to fill up the day with adults that are free. Because even with that, I was earning more money than sitting at the gym doing work there. So at the time I thought I had failed. It wasn't what I thought it was when I went into it. But I gained so much wisdom from that course. How to keep my body strong and healthy. You know, in so many ways, not just with the exercise, but with nutrition, because you do have to learn nutrition when you do the course to become a gym instructor. I had my daughter, and with her came my first awakening. And with that, I wrote my first book. Then the voice came that said I had to publish it. 3 books later, I'm on to Easy Mind, Easy Life. And I published it because the voice kept asking me to write them and publish them. And I got to a point where I was like, this is a mistake. What is the point? First, I thought I'd made a mistake going to the self-publishing house, Balboa Press. I thought, oh, I've spent all this money to publish these books and no one knows they exist. I'm like, what is the point if you guys aren't guiding me to get it out there? You're not showing me the way. And at the time I had a beautiful YouTube channel that I had started shortly after I published Your Past is a Gift, and that just wasn't growing. Because it wasn't time. It wasn't the right time yet. You know, you hear about divine timing. It wasn't my time yet. I still had so much baggage to let go of, so much to release. And it wasn't until this year I signed up to do a course with Hay House, which is the traditional publisher that I've wanted to be with from the moment I published the first book. Because I love Louise Hayes. I love her books. I love everything she brought into the world. I had such high respect for her. And that's why I went with Balboa Press, because they're a subdivision. And in my heart there was always that any day now, Hay House would reach out and offer me a contract. And then I did the course with Hay House, only to find out that all the things I believed that were going to happen when I signed up with them weren't true. A traditional publishing house does not do the promoting for you. You still have to do your own promoting of your own books. They don't do any of that. You just have their name to back you up. That's basically it. And then every time you go to publish a book, they do the whole publishing thing for you. At least I wouldn't have to spend $3,000 to $4,000 every time I have to publish the next book. But there were so many beliefs that came crashing down this year when I did the Hay House course. The next thing I learned with Hay House is that it takes about 2 years. Once you hand over the manuscript to them, by the time they finish fluffing around with it, making it perfect to put out into the market, it takes 2 years. With these books, it takes 6 months. By the time I start writing it, I get it all together and I give it to the publisher. When it gets to the publisher, it's less than 1 month before it's out, published. So each book takes less than a year and it's already there in the world. So this year I learned to love everything that I've been guided to do, because there was a reason for that. The other thing I learned as well, when I first came out with the first book, was that I was serving others with all the beautiful information, all the knowledge I had gained from the first book. But I was still functioning from my ego of all the things I needed for my life. So for me, it wasn't so much about adding value to others. It was about serving others so that I could serve myself with the things that I needed in my life at the time. And this year, when I went through that program with Hay House, they began to show me all the beautiful gifts that I was given with each and every book that's on that shelf, and how they got me here to where I am today. And so there was a new gratitude for this journey, that everything happened for a reason. Everything was meant to happen. At the beginning of this year, I had given up because I don't know how to promote books. I don't know how to do the advertising side of things. I gave up. I thought, I need help with that. I don't know how to do it. And I don't have the money to pay someone to do it. I don't know how to do it. And so I gave up. And I did a course learning how to put up an Etsy shop. And my Etsy shop was beautiful. I loved it. I loved designing. I loved everything about it. But then I got halfway through the year and there was just this yearning that I needed to keep writing, because that's where I feel my flow is. That's where I feel that I'm connected to the divine. The Etsy shop was just to resolve a problem. But it's not what I am here to do. Everything that we do, even if we look back on it and we think we failed, we gained something from it. Everything. You gain something, you learn something about yourself. And that's what this life is. It's about learning about ourselves. So today, I'd like you to look for that song. I might see if I can find a link to the original. I hope I did Shakira good today with my version of it. I didn't let her down. I love singing, but I've never taken lessons, so it always just comes from my heart when I sing. So those are the beautiful words in the song. I won't give up and I won't give in till I reach the end. Then I'll start again. I want to live. I want to try everything. I want to try even though I can fail. Because that's what we're here for, to experience all of it. That's what we're here for, my beautiful beings. So I hope today this message reaches your heart. That if there's something you've been wanting to try, but you're too afraid to fail, afraid that you're going to waste money that you don't get back. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Try it anyway. You will gain something. It may not be the money that you're after. I've done so many courses chasing money. My parents came to Australia chasing money. And in the end, they realized it wasn't what they wanted, what they were yearning for. Because the truth is, we chase this money. And in your heart, feel into the why do we chase this money. For some, we believe it's going to bring us happiness. For me, I believed it would bring me freedom. And my freedom came in the most unexpected way in this past week by a comment that was placed on one of my videos. And at the time, I was like, This comment really irritated me when I first read it. Someone was posting up a comment about another author's book, a book that's just being published, freshly published, by an author that's well established, that doesn't need free promoting on anyone else's channel. But that wasn't the point. That was my ego getting upset. That was my separate eye jumping in and not seeing the gift of that comment. After I read that comment and I gave it the thumbs up and I gave it the heart, which I do as a minimum to acknowledge I've seen the comment. For the next few days, those two words stuck in my head. Let them. Let them. And I've already created a video previously, last few videos, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 videos ago, of what that meant for me. And there was my freedom right there. It had nothing to do with money. It never does. We are conditioned to think, to believe that money is the answer to so many of our questions, to so many of the things that we desire. Happiness, freedom, peace. If you have all the money in the world, you don't have to worry anymore. You're at peace. But are you? So, what will you do today with this beautiful message from Spirit? Are you going to give it a go? Let me know in the comments. All right, my beautiful beings, I love you guys. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages, and share the beautiful videos. Who knows who needs this gorgeous message today to get them moving. This is your life. This is your life. Go. Fail 1,000,000 times. It doesn't matter. You still gain every time. Bye for now.